Hello, and welcome to In Focus on UATV English. As Russia's war against Ukraine grinds on, Europe is facing hard questions about its own security. From NATO's air defense plans to the EU's ambitious new defense reforms, leaders are beginning to act on fears that Moscow's aggression won't stop at Ukraine's borders. Later in the program, we'll meet a Ukrainian chaplain whose courage and compassion help soldiers endure life on the front line. Russia's threats against Europe are no longer a distant concern. They are part of active strategic planning across the continent. NATO countries are now preparing to treat any Russian aircraft violating Allied airspace as legitimate targets. Meanwhile, the European Union is launching its largest defense reform in decades. From shared weapons production to coordinated military spending, all to be combat-ready by 2030. But intelligence agencies warn that Moscow might move much sooner. The Kremlin's rhetoric toward the Baltic states sounds alarmingly similar to what preceded its wars in Georgia and Ukraine. So, how close is Europe to another Russian provocation? Here's more in our first report.
NATO countries are preparing to repel potential future attacks from Russia. The alliance is developing new rules to deal with violations of its airspace, said Belgian Defence Minister Theo Franken. Defence chiefs of the alliance member states want Russian military aircraft entering Allied airspace to be treated as legitimate targets. The European Union is also preparing for a possible Russian attack. Brussels intends to carry out a large-scale defence reform, including joint arms production, among them drones.
By the end of 2027, the plan wants the EU doing 40% of its defense procurement jointly, more than double the current rate. EU countries must coordinate their defense spending, it argues, and swiftly create coalitions to jointly erect new defense programs. And these efforts should be underway within the next year if the continent wants to meet its goal of being combat-ready in 2030. From the Bloomberg publication.
Russia, using all kinds of ships, clunker feet, whatever, can reach, unfortunately, deep into Europe. And we should be prepared to counter that. And so I think not to build anti-drone and drone capacity these days would be irresponsible.
The most likely targets of Moscow's aggression could be the Baltic states, Western intelligence warns. Estonia is taking this threat seriously. The Estonian Ministry of Defense has announced that anyone willing will be able to receive drone operation training. The Ukrainian experience has proven the necessity and effectiveness of using both combat and reconnaissance UAVs in modern warfare, the ministry emphasized. In 2026, Estonia will spend over 5% of its GDP on defense, President Alar Karis noted. Lithuania is also preparing to raise defense and defense industry spending to 5% of GDP. Vilnius must fulfill its commitments, insists Gitanas Nausėda.
These are not just words or a formulation for the outside world, because all our steps are being evaluated. Our reputational reliability as Lithuania is judged on that basis. If we now, by our words or actions, put our reputation at risk, it will have very serious consequences. Yes, this requires significant financial resources, but we should fulfill our commitments, because in the event of a real threat, we want to defend ourselves together with our allies, not alone. Gitanas Nausėda, President of Lithuania, from a Delphi publication.
Russia could attack NATO countries much earlier than 2030, Germany's Federal Intelligence Service has warned. The Kremlin is already rehearsing its usual scenario. Narratives it has used for decades are now being applied to the Baltic states. The invasion of Georgia, the occupation of parts of Donetsk and Luhansk regions, the annexation of Crimea, and finally the full-scale war against Ukraine, all of these acts were justified by Russian propaganda as measures to protect Russian-speaking populations. Now, the Kremlin plans to impose its so-called Russian world on Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia.
Russian State Duma chairperson Vyacheslav Volodin claimed on October 14th that Latvian authorities are persecuting Russian speakers in Latvia, and that Russia must protect its compatriots in the Baltic states. Russian Liberal Democratic Party head and Duma deputy Leonid Slutsky also claimed that Russians in Latvia are part of the Russian world. The Kremlin's Russian world framework is an intentionally vague ideological idea that Putin has defined as including any former territory of the Kievan Rus, the Kingdom of Muscovy, the Russian Empire, the Soviet Union, and the contemporary Russian Federation. From the ISW report.
To protect against Russian threats, having weapons is not enough. Political will is also essential, says European Commissioner for Defence and Space Andrius Kubilius. He emphasized that Putin uses every possible tool of hybrid warfare to destroy Europe's political and defence readiness, reported by Larisa Petruk, UATV News.
While Europe prepares for a possible Russian attack, Ukrainians are already living that reality every single day. Among those on the front line are not only soldiers, but also military chaplains, people whose mission is to keep faith alive where it's most fragile. One of them is Father Marian, who risks his life bringing spiritual strength to troops in Donetsk region. He turns broken drones into church candles and ammo boxes into altars.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Transforming the tools of war into symbols of hope. Our next story shows how even in the darkest places, Ukraine's defenders find light.
Today there is no electricity, so we have to use candles.
Did the guys make this for you too?
Yes. One time I went to visit our guys working with drone systems and said to them, the chaplain needs a broken drone. I gave them drawings from children for Easter. It moved the servicemen so much that they said, we'll find a drone for you now.
The panicadillo and the stand for reading the gospel were made by the border guards of the Pomsta Brigade. Handmade church items with a military theme are rare even at the front. For example, the portable chapel that Marian brings to soldiers' positions was once just a simple ammo box.
We saw a similar example in a museum in Cherkasy. My driver was there, took a photo, came to me and asked if we needed one, and I said, absolutely.
Marian says that trips to the front line are extremely dangerous, but every soldier needs support. The chaplain himself will long remember his 33rd birthday this August, when he personally witnessed Russian attack drones striking Kramatorsk.
I was walking and saw a drone about 500 meters away hit something. It was far, under control, so I kept walking. Then I heard a sound like a motorcycle and saw a sound like a motorbike and an explosion nearby.
Marian constantly searches for the right words to keep the soldiers' morale high.
To prevent someone from burning out, I tell them, everything you do, do it in the name of love. For example, I advise the soldiers, toward those in front of us, let there be hatred, but toward those behind us, let there be love.
The chaplain himself firmly believes in Ukraine's victory. His greatest wish is for all Ukrainian defenders to return home to their families as soon as possible.
I dream of life triumphing on this earth, of Ukraine being reborn. Great and only God, protect Ukraine for us.
Every combat brigade defending Ukrainian territory has its own chaplain. They don't wait for parishioners to come to the church. They go where their prayers are needed most. Currently, more than 300 clergymen and chaplains of various denominations serve in the Ukrainian armed forces. Reported by Alyona Gramova, Yevhen Karmazin from Donetsk region, UATV News.
That's all for today. Europe may be preparing for the next war, but Ukraine continues to fight the one already here, with resilience, courage, and faith. What's your take on all this? Share your thoughts below. This is UATV. Stay sharp, in focus, and stay safe.